Hey folks, it's Tom Frugal Prepper. I'm going to go through my updated medical, this is mostly like for trauma type stuff. This is a bag that I take in the vehicle with me, whichever vehicle I'm driving. I always have this bag with me. Alright folks, we'll kind of go through my medical bag here and what I have. This is my main bag. I have a little kit that I keep in my pocket as well. Just with a few things. I keep it in my cargo pants pocket, but this is what I always have in the car with me now. Like if I switch cars, I always grab this kit out of one car and move it to the other. Just to make sure I always have this with me. This isn't really a boo-boo kit. Those are my little first aid kits with some Band-Aids and some antiseptic wipes and stuff like that in it. I do have a few little just slight things in here just in case I'm not near a first aid kit and I need to put a Band-Aid on my finger, but that's not the idea behind this kit. This is more of a serious emergency, like we got a major bleed, a knife wound, a gunshot wound, a drug overdose kind of kit. So got this bag for around $11 or $12 on Amazon. It actually seems like a really nice decent little bag for this. I'll try to put links to any of this stuff I got on Amazon down below. And I'll kind of tell you where I got this stuff as I go through. But some of this stuff I've had for a long time now, and I don't really remember where I got it. But, so the first thing is just some gloves. These are just some cheapy medical gloves in a bag. I think there's like 2 or 3 pairs in here. Just so that I can change them out if I'm going from one patient to another. If I'm dealing with a situation where there's multiple traumas, I'll try to switch out gloves if I can. But if I can't, then I'm probably just going to use the hand sanitizer on top of my gloves and go to the next person and hope for the best, because my goal is to keep me from getting contaminated, you know. But yeah, I do have some gloves in here. And just to help prevent, you know, if they have hepatitis or something like that and I have to help them and they're bleeding, I want to try to prevent myself from catching that. And then of course I have some hand sanitizer just to clean up afterwards. And you know, after I take the gloves off, I'll also use this, you know, to kind of just help kill any germs. Let's see, I have some Ace bandages in here. I have 2 of those. These are just cheap little Ace bandages from the dollar store. A wider one might be a little better, but these are good enough, right? Just to make sure that I have something I can wrap around a wound and put some compression down on it if I need to. I also have this stuff, and I have another one of those over here. So these are like a self-adhesive wrap. If I can find the end of it, but yeah. But anyway, this is like a self-adhesive wrap that you can wrap around a wound. If you can find the end of it to get it started, I don't know. It's been compressed in there a little too long, but it's just like this stuff here, and it kind of sticks to itself. And it's stretchy and elastic, so you can put a bandage on something and then wrap it up with this. I have to work on getting this started later. Here it is. I thought, yeah. I'll work on getting this started and then I'll fold the end of it over. I don't want to be looking for that during an emergency. Trying to figure out where it starts. I also have this little tiny, this is actually a tourniquet. Like when they draw blood, they wrap a tourniquet around your arm. It's one of those kind of tourniquets. Not really going to stop much bleeding. Maybe lower down on the limb it would. But this is mostly just to tie around something, to put a little extra pressure on it or something. Just keep one of those in here. I have a triangle bandage. And this can be used for like a large wound compress. You can also make a sling out of it for like a broken arm. And you can also make this into a tourniquet in an emergency as well. So these are really handy to have. I have one of those in here. Then I just have some bandages and some alcohol wipes and some wet ones wipes. And this is just kind of like, oh, I cut my finger, I need to clean it off with an alcohol wipe and put a bandage on it. Just to have a few of those types of things. And I also, over here, have some triple antibiotic ointment. Because if I get a cut, I almost always put some triple antibiotic ointment on it and clean it with some alcohol, just in case it's like a flesh-eating bacteria or something like that. You want to get it cleaned and treated as soon as possible. I also have some Steri Strips. These are the genuine 3M Steri Strips. There's 5 of each size here, the small ones and the big ones. These work really well. Your Curad ones, a lot of those other little Steri Strips, they don't stick for crap. These things are waterproof and they will stick on the wound and hold it closed for a lot longer than other stuff will. So spend the money on the 3Ms, you know, and do it right. I have a couple of smaller gauze pads here. Again, this isn't really for trauma. I mean, it could be, but it's mostly just for like, oh, I cut my finger kind of stuff here. I have some Mylar Blankets. I actually have another one back here. 2 of these Mylar Blankets. Just because if you're dealing with somebody that's lost a lot of blood, you can almost guarantee they're going to be hypothermic. And you're going to need to keep them warm. And so this is a cheap and easy way to get them covered up and get their body temperature up. And these are super cheap. I mean, you get 10 of them for like $5 or something. And I got some just regular kind of medical tape in here. Nothing special about that. I have plenty of 5x9 pads in here for packing over wounds. I keep a nice large assortment of combine ABD 5x9 pads. And these are all sterile ones. You don't need sterile ones for trauma, but you know, if you can get a sterile one, so much the better, right? Then I have lots of these rolls of gauze. This is one from the Dollar Tree. These are ones from Amazon. They're pretty much the same thing. But these are for packing in a wound with the finger, you know, packing it down in there to put some pressure on a bleeding wound. I have plenty of those in here. I also have a clotting sponge. And I would rather have the clotting gauze, but I have the sponge for now, so that's what I'm carrying. I also have the vented chest seals, 2 of these by Recon. They're just a vented chest seal that you stick on. It's a good idea to have. It's a lot faster than making one from duct tape and plastic. So if you need to get somebody treated fast, this is a good thing to have. You always, of course, want to have 2 of them for an entry and an exit wound, possibly. And you could take this bag, some of this tape, and make additional chest seals out of the bags for these too. If you find yourself in a situation where you got multiple people that you're trying to treat. Over here in my side pocket, I have 2 doses of Narcan. These are the nasal spray ones. So basically you can stick this part in their nostril and then you squeeze the red part and it squirts it in their nose and it should bring them out of their overdose. So I don't really know anybody that takes drugs or anything, but there is a real heroin epidemic going around, and so if I find that person that's laying there unconscious, barely breathing, has a weak pulse, and they got a needle hanging out of their arm, this could save their life before EMS could get there. And the thing here is these are free or nearly free, usually with your health insurance, and you can get these at the Walgreens pharmacy without a prescription. You can just walk in and be like, I'd like some Narcan. They'll fill out a little thing with your name and information on it, submit it to your insurance company, and you'll get out the door with these pretty inexpensively. Otherwise, they're like 140, 150 bucks for the two of them. But with your insurance, it'll be a lot cheaper, or some insurance, it's actually free. And just you can give one of these, and then in 3 to 4 minutes, if they're not improving, you can give them a second one. Or you can give them one and it'll wear off somewhere in the 5 to 15 minute range. It'll start to wear off. You'll see them going back downhill. You can give them another one just to buy the time for 911 to get there. So to keep some Narcan. I have a cold pack here. This is just a instant cold pack that you break the little thing in here and take it up and it gets cold. It's really ammonium nitrate and water. I have the Recon Tourniquet. I'm not going to take this all out of the bag right now, but this is a tourniquet. It's kind of like a cat tourniquet. It's not quite the same thing, but these are really well made. They're UV resistant, and they're sewn with a Kevlar thread down the side, and it's a good tourniquet. It really is, and it's about half the price of the cat tourniquet. So that's what I went with. I didn't want anything too cheap in Chinese, but I wanted something that I didn't want to spend the money on a cat, so I went with the Recon. Over here, I have my nasal pharyngeal or nasal airway. I don't have any training on this, but my understanding is that you put this lube on and you lube this tube down, and you basically shove this down their nose while you tell them to swallow, and this will get their airway screwed down to about their Adam's apple, or a little bit lower than that. If they have some kind of facial trauma, you can get an airway established that way. Not perfect, but I'd try it if I had to. And this is a size 7, which is kind of in the middle. You wouldn't want to use this on a child or an infant, and a petite person might have a harder time. A larger person could use a bigger one, but they make these in like 6 or 7 different sizes. I just chose a middle size and decided to carry that. The chances of me having to use this are pretty slim, but I still have it just in case. And I have, this is a generic version of the Israeli bandage. It's basically a trauma wound dressing with kind of an ace bandage built into it. You can unwrap that and wrap it around a wound, give some pressure to it, So I have that in here. But honestly, I'll probably just be using gauze packed in the wound, covered with ABD pads, and then wrap some ace bandages around it most of the time. But I figure I'll throw this in here just in case I need it. It has some little instructions on how to use it. And I probably should open one of these and figure out how it works at some point, but I haven't yet. That's the thing, is having to figure out how this stuff works and what it looks like. You really need to buy 2 of everything, so that you're kind of familiar with it when you go to use it. But I'm on a budget, so I can't always do that. But that's my little emergency bag that I just carry with me. It normally rides in my everyday car, but then when I move over I'm going out to do a vehicle repair, I'll move this over to my mobile repair vehicle. I'll move this over to my truck, whatever I happen to be driving or riding in. This almost always comes with me. It just stays in the car, so that I should normally be in walking distance of my car. But that's what I got. Let me know if you have any ideas or thoughts about what I carry or something I don't carry. Oh, the other thing I do have here, let me show you. I do have some of these scissors for cutting off clothing, cutting seat belts. This will cut through a penny actually. These are from Harbor Freight. They're like $2. They're just not that expensive, and they work actually really well. So they used to have some black ones of these too, but these are the newer green ones. I think they're actually a little bit sturdier. But anyway, that's what I got. I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom, your Frugal Prepper.